Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And welcome to a special How We Felt About. We're doing this one outside of the Omnibus because we're going to have to shoot the Omnibus a week late this week because I have a scheduling conflict on the day we usually shoot that, and I knew we could, what, because it's a Weird Al concert?
Yeah.
Is that what?
That's
oh, right, because it's a weird, right, yeah. So I have to go to a Weird Al concert, and that's usually the night that we shoot, and we don't have another day until next week. So, you'll get your 8+ bazillion-hour Omnibus the week after that, and we'll be doing Infinity Gauntlet, and Thanos Quest, and we'll also be doing a longer spoiler discussion on Infinity War, which is, of course, what we're talking about today, and the film, not the comic series, although I'm also reading that right now, and it's fascinating, but I digress. It has nothing to do with this movie. But I knew we could not get away with not talking about this before that comes out. And I knew a week would be ridiculous. So we're going to give our immediate first impressions, and this is a thing we haven't done in a long time, talking about a movie directly after we see it. Usually, with the Omnibus, we get at least a day or two, if not a week, and to mull it over and consider it and digest, and no digestion at all today. We just got back from the theater. So we're going to give you our first impressions, and we're going to be as non-spoilery as humanly possible. So if you've not seen the movie yet, and if somehow you're a person watching this channel who's not decided if you're going to that movie, this will help you with that, but I'm sure there are none of those.
I mean, it already broke Black Panther's record for pre-order sales.
Yeah, which is madness. It's going to be really interesting. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Avengers Infinity War. Everybody knows what's going on in this movie, right? Finally, Thanos, after 6 years building up to this, he is gathering the Infinity Stones and trying to essentially become God. In this, he's a little bit different than how he is in the comics, or really quite a bit different, in that his motivation, he thinks he is saving the universe, and he wants to destroy half of everything, just like he does in the comics, but in the comics, it's to appease death, and in this, he has more of a ideological, almost a conscience reason for wanting to do that, and he's trying to get each of the stones, and of course we know where several of them are, but there's one that we don't know where it is, and neither does Thanos, and he's after that, and we have, of course, every character, nearly every character that has ever mattered, superhero-wise in this universe, and some non-superhero-wise, although
there are a couple notable absences.
Yeah, and I don't want to say who.
Which is just, it's funny because like I looked at the cast like, well, everyone's in it. I just assumed like everyone's in it. I'm sure if I looked at the cast, I knew the characters that weren't in it. Yeah, or I could have known.
Sure, absolutely. But that, and I guess I should also mention just massive blend of tones where we're taking, you know, every corner of this world except for the gritty street level Netflix stuff, I guess, and mixing it all together to make this just insane behemoth, unprecedented. You've never seen anything like this kind of movie.
Well, we can say up top. So when Avengers came out, I thought Avengers was the first time I've ever seen a movie that felt like a comic book. Yeah. It's the most comic booky feeling movie. I think that has been usurped by Age of Ultron for me. I think Age of Ultron feels like a comic book more than any other movie. This feels like an event more than any other, like a comic book event. Absolutely. This is not an Avengers movie. This is an event. More so than anything else we've ever done. This is an event.
Story-wise, you can make lots of arguments for this is an Avengers movie, and I think positively that in a lot of great ways this is an Avengers movie. But you're absolutely right. This is a Marvel Universe movie. I don't think Avengers had to be in the title. Having seen it, I have no problem with Avengers being in the title.
It even feels structured like an event, and how we are like, we jump over here and we just spend a lot of time with these characters. We jump over here, we spend some time with these guys. Like it feels like a comic book event.
Waste no time out of the gate.
No time.
There's no sitting around waiting for things to happen. There's no establishing anything.
We
jump right into it.
We said in Civil War, like look, at this point you just have to keep up.
This movie,
yeah. No, you just have to keep up.
It's impossible to know because I've been so invested in this world for so long. I would make the argument that if there were still people that had not seen any of these, or had maybe seen a couple, they might be lost in some places, but there's so much to keep your attention. I have a hard time imagining, unless you're talking about people who just don't have these kinds of sensibilities at all, that there wouldn't be something that they would latch on to.
Yeah. I mean, luckily the ones I would think you would have to see the most outside like the obvious one. Like Guardians is really important. No one skipped Guardians.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the ones that really matter.
Yeah.
You've seen Iron Man in something.
Yeah.
And as long as you've seen him in something, you're good.
Yeah.
You know? So let's go ahead and get into best thing, worst thing. Eric, what was your favorite thing and your least favorite thing about Avengers: Infinity War?
Best thing's tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good.
Well, don't you feel like you just saw 6 movies?
Yeah. Best thing's really tough, especially no spoilers.
Sure.
So I'll go with the fact that
Should be kind of broad, maybe.
I'll just go with real simple. Like, there's a special credit for Jim Starlin. Like, just aside from all the special thanks at the end, like there's a, like really early on in the credits, special thanks for Jim Starlin. I don't know. I really like that. I can't. I'm still processing. It's real hard for me to pick like a moment.
But about the film, Eric, yeah. But don't think about it like don't think about moments. Think about aspects.
Yeah. I like how cosmic it was.
Yeah. Sure.
That was my biggest surprise. Is that the trailers?
I told you we'd go to space.
The trailers look like it's a siege on Earth, and it's not. This is a spacefaring film. I loved that.
In the same way that Age of Ultron and Winter Soldier are globetrotty, this is universe trotty.
Yeah.
And you know how, and I don't think this is giving too much away, you know how, and remember, this is the Russos, these are the guys who make a spy thriller, and then they make not industrial, they make like kind of a, I almost said espionage thriller, I guess, how would you describe Age of Ultron? Like...
Civil War.
Sorry, I meant to say Civil War, sure. Well, no. I guess that's a political espionage movie.
Yeah.
But
differently.
But, yeah, sure. But anyway, but they make those, and then they make this big giant cosmic movie. You remember in Civil War, they put the names of the places would go huge on the screen. They do that here. The placement's different, but we're doing it with different places in the galaxy now. It's really cool.
This is also. This is the last, like, final line on, the Russos don't need writers. They can make any writer, because this is the same team that wrote Dark World, which also wrote, Winter Soldier, and also wrote, Civil War. Like, there's...
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no. They tell them what to write. Like, they guide the script process. They're not writing these films, but they're incredibly influential on the story. They're not just pointing cameras and, doing cool shots and so yeah, no, like these are their movies.
They're not just in charge of the writers' room.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go with that. That was my favorite thing. I liked how big and cosmic it was. It is the movie in a lot of ways I wanted the Guardians movies to be.
Sure.
It's that big epic space stuff.
And I think the humor is really well integrated.
I also think they know how to do Doctor Strange better than Doctor Strange guy. The magic is awesome. It's not just we're making weapons with CGI. Like, they do cool stuff.
Did you think it got weird enough? Because, man, there are some moments where they go farther than I would have expected.
There are some moments where they go farther than I expected.
I think more in Starlin Land than Kirby Land.
Yeah. It's not as weird as I would have liked it, but that's... mainstream audience, whatever, and it could get weirder in the next one, I guess. So worst thing. I assume we have the same worst thing.
Yeah. Do you want to just save it? Do you want to just?
Yeah.
You want to just have me do my best thing and then we can talk about it? Because
okay.
We have the same worst thing.
It's not Thanos.
Yeah.
Like, period.
Yeah.
So I'll pick a different one.
Sure.
Since I know we share that.
Absolutely.
I'll pick a real small minor one that I know you don't agree with me on because we've already talked about it.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch basically lost her accent. It really bothers me.
Yeah. And I don't even think you're totally right about it. But
we'll see on subsequent viewings. But it felt like there's a couple lines where it feels like she has it, but most of it sounds like she's just talking. It's a really thick accent. It's hard to miss. I don't think I'm wrong, but we'll see. That kind of bugged me. But yeah, no. Yeah. Do I do feeling it now or?
Go ahead, sure, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm feeling it. It's despite having what should be a fatal flaw for me personally.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. It's The Empire Strikes Back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Which I know we hear that with so many things all the time.
It's legitimately The Empire Strikes Back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That really old movie.
Yeah. They did another one of them, and I don't buy it. I don't buy Peter Parker hasn't seen the aliens. But
it's not that he hasn't seen it's that he has seen it.
I don't know.
But he calls it old because he's a young kid.
I don't buy that with Peter Parker. He's got historical perspective, but whatever. I didn't like it in the first one. I didn't like it in this one either. But and I don't like that it looks like it's being run and gag now. But no, I adored this film. It is everything it needed to be, and more than I expected it to be. Yeah. Especially based on
with the one big notable exception, and somehow that didn't destroy it,
it didn't
and
kill
it
the
should
movie.
have.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll get into spoilers on that on the Omnibus next week, and I'm sure, I mean, I feel like I could do an entire segment just on that.
It's not him.
Yeah. So, my best thing is integration of tones. Goodness, is it impressive that, I feel like I'm watching a bunch of different movies that are all totally faithful to the things that they are a 0.3, 0.5, 0.7 sequel to. But I also feel like with some of them, this is my B, they're better than some of those. If you had told me that James Gunn wrote all the Guardians dialogue, I would believe you.
Yeah.
And that's really impressive.
Yeah. It is the best Thor movie.
I'm with you on the Doctor Strange thing, and man, I don't. So we've talked about this at length. I don't care for Ragnarok. I really suddenly I love that character again, and I wish. And maybe in some ways for the first time, I mean, I have liked Thor in things. He hasn't fully come alive for me a lot in just like, or at least I haven't fully been super invested in like a character arc for Thor. Oh, I was here, and in some ways it felt like his movie. I don't mean all the way through. I mean, it's a bunch of different people's movies. But they give them a Thor movie stat.
Yeah, they know how to do it.
I cannot believe how versatile the Russos are as directors.
Yep.
It is absolutely insane. They can make crime fiction. They can make spy fiction. They can make comedies. They can make space operas.
Yep.
It seems like they can do everything. In the same way that Avengers was the culmination of all of those worlds that we had built to create one big world, and they were all in different genres. This is that again times 10, and even a great deal more impressive, I think, because it's you have to jump several ponds, right? Like it's not even all on Earth anymore. And with integration in tones, also it comes the impressiveness of just juggling all these characters, which is the obvious thing to praise it for if it does that well. But that was still a big question with this, just because you put 80 characters on screen.
It's not like Civil War, where I think every character legitimately kind of has an arc, and they were able to balance like 12 characters.
You can't possibly do that.
You can't possibly. There is no one that I felt like was short shrift outside of maybe Winter Soldier. Like, he's in it, but like,
sure,
he was the one character I'm like, oh, he didn't get like, well, him and War Machine, but War Machine's whatever.
Here's the thing, but I don't lose anybody.
No,
there aren't characters that I'm asked to sympathize with or be impressed with or care about when something bad happens to them, or just in a real dramatic moment because I haven't spent enough time with them. That never happens. There are characters that are just kind of sidelined or put in the background, and some of the characters that are most important are characters that I have not fully really loved and cared about yet. And a couple of big MVPs for characters that I think are difficult in these movies. As we said, the first one is Thor, and I mean it's the opposite of Age of Ultron, where. And some of this is because it's a cosmic thing, a pseudo-celestial thing. Of course, Thor is going to be important as far as the plot goes, but he's also that way in Age of Ultron and used as kind of a plot device, and he's the one that doesn't really fit and that Whedon admits I didn't know what to do with him. We don't have that problem with this, but the other one is Gamora.
Yep, I agree.
And good lord,
no, she kills it in this movie.
I have never been a Zoe Saldana fan, and I am finally going to say it. Really more than solid performance.
Yeah.
She's incredible in this.
She's really good in this.
Just tears it up.
Yep.
And I think we will go back and watch her in the other Guardians movies and like her performance is better there.
Possibly.
After this, I really do. And I'm working on the rewind right now for the first Guardians movie, and I'm liking her more than I ever have. And this just really cemented that. So if I have to come up with a worst thing outside of the Thanos is not Thanos problem, I'm not sure immediately where I would go. I think it's and I might feel differently about this on second viewing, I think it's the why now question. And that is related to Thanos, but
all of the lead up does not matter.
And we thought that would be a problem, and it is, and it's unfortunate. I don't know why Thanos waited until now. It's like, okay,
I don't know why
so
he tried before the way he tried before.
Yeah, okay, so there are 2 stones on Earth now, but one of them has been there for a really long time, and he waited even a couple of years after the Mind Stone got there. Somebody explain this to me. I don't understand. Yep. And he does it all at once. The thing is, if he had already collected all the other ones and he just saved Earth for last, okay. But that's not what happens. And I hope I'm not spoiling too much by saying that, but can I spoil this much? At the beginning of the movie, he's got 1.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know why now. That's... So all of my issues, because I can't think of anything that's not Thanos related. All of my issues are Thanos related. And having said that, Brolin is great.
Yeah.
And like the performance is great. The voice is great. The CG is fine. I like his look.
Oh, we should also mention that some of the CGI
there's some dodgy CG. I think he's got plenty of presence. I think he's menacing. Yep. I like that there is more than a human side to Thanos. There's a lot about him that I like, but taste issue for me, one of my favorite villains of all time, he's not Thanos, and B, without getting into it, and we'll do this later, and this is the bigger issue for me, it's not just what his motivation and ideology is, it's that he has no vision. Thanos wants to destroy half of the population of the entire universe, and the reason he wants to do that, in order to achieve what he's trying to achieve, when he's God, he doesn't need to do that anymore. But as much as I'm dogging on that, and as I'm kind of fuming about it, this is really close to the best comic book movie ever made.
Yeah, yeah.
So like that's an incredible.
Here's the thing. This is the divide between if you change it and it works versus like just change it for no reason.
Absolutely, yeah.
It basically works.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
My issue is...
But I don't know that it makes sense, ultimately.
My issue is that his motivation is too pedestrian and Earth-centric viewpoint-wise. This could have been the motivation of any villain in any other superhero movie.
That's fair, too, sure.
They expand it to a global scale, but it's a real modern right now problem, right?
Like, they make a big deal out of how special he is.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's the only one that would have thought of this. Why?
I saw Kingsman, like, what?
And we didn't, yeah, because in a lot of ways he's a Bond villain, right? And we don't, you know, it's that tear down and start over thing, kind of. It's a little bit different. Again, we'll talk about it more later on, but, like...
It feels so pedestrian. For what he's doing, I was like, really? That's what you went with? I guess it's topical.
Sort of. So
stop calling Earth. How about the rest of the galaxy? I haven't hung out there very much.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, but I mean, like that is the biggest credit, the biggest accolade I can give this movie is I am fuming about that, and I loved this film.
Yeah, he's not Thanos. The movie's still great.
Yep, that's our review.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm feeling it. I adored this. Obviously, so excited about what's.
It's very strange.
It is, yeah. And understand. I'm not saying
Groaned
that
in the middle of the theater. Like I was sitting next to him, and there's a point where he's like.
And you probably knew I was doing that.
Yeah, no, I heard you. I heard you. I was
but I mean, you probably knew why I was doing it.
Oh, yeah, no, I knew exactly why you were doing it. But
just because you heard me groan, does it? But
it's still one of the best superhero movies ever made. Maybe the best superhero movie ever made. Who knows?
But I also teared up in like 3 places.
I did not. There was one moment where I almost did.
And it wasn't for big emotional beats. It was for comic book fanboy stuff. It was like, I'm finally seeing this. It was that. Yeah, it was more that kind of thing. And I love Black Panther so much. I have a hard time not doing that with Black Panther stuff, just in general now. Man, we get to the Black Panther stuff, and I just want to at the end of this go to another theater in the Cineplex that I know is showing Black Panther and sit down and watch that movie again. They could write a Black Panther movie.
Yep.
They could do any of these things.
Yep. I want them to do Doctor Strange too. I want them. If there is another Thor movie, they should be the ones to do it.
But the big question at the end of the day is this everything it was hyped up to be and promised? Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Yep.
They could not begin to oversell this.
They pull on threads that we thought they'd forgotten.
Yeah, which is awesome. And regardless, which makes the Thanos thing even a little bit more irritating because
they didn't pull all the Thanos. They didn't pull any of the Thanos threads together.
But forgetting that, was it worth the 6-year wait? Oh yeah, it would have been worth 8. Yeah, I don't mean the Thanos. I just mean this movie.
No. The movie is worth the 10-year wait that it took to build up to it.
Yeah,
Thanos is not.
And it feels like an anniversary thing in so many ways.
It does,
and that's wonderful. Anyway, so we're going to talk about this a lot more on the Omnibus next week. Did you have any other big things you wanted to make sure and bring up, or final thoughts, or?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Okay, well, folks, in the comments, we implore you, please don't spoil anything on this particular video, because we're posting this before a lot of people are going to get to see it, and we were really careful not to spoil anything major. I will even say minor spoilers in the title, just because there's a couple little things I threw out, but I don't think anything huge. And I hope I didn't say too much about, like, Thanos' motivations and stuff, but I didn't know how to bring that up without discussing it a little bit. But, you know, mostly just to say, I don't think it's working for me. But anyway, so leave your comments and tell us what you thought of the movie, and we will be, again, doing, I'm sure, a good 45 minutes to an hour on this in the Omnibus next week. So, in the meantime, thanks for watching, folks. We sure appreciate it. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
See you next time, folks.
Do